Dahlia, Jennifer Connolly, and her daughter Cece, Ariel Gade, relocate to a condominium flat due to Dahlia's impending divorce. They relocate to Roosevelt Island, a New York neighborhood. Because her soon-to-be ex-husband Kyle, Doug Ray Scott, opposes the new school and surroundings, it appears that the custody proceedings for Cece are becoming contentious. The mediators, Bill Buell and Linda Emmond, believe that Cece will be the most damaged person at the end of the divorce, regardless of who ultimately wins custody. On the 9th floor, Dahlia and Cece live. Dahlia tries to stick to her routines, such as reading children's books to Cece before bedtime and driving her to school. However, she continues to have splitting headaches and must take strong medication. The condo has laundry facilities in the basement and a rude clerk named Pete Postlethwaite, who complains about everything but does nothing. Dahlia soon finds herself exhausted. Her mother, Alina Lowenson, disapproves of her life and is concerned about Dahlia's psychological strength, so she needs to keep her job to pay her bills. Dahlia didn't notice a damp stain in a bedroom when she first looked at the flat, but it quickly becomes a major issue once she and Cece have moved in. They also begin to hear strange noises coming from the other side of the walls. The flat, like the dilapidated corridors or the dark basement, is poorly lit. The clerk says she'll call a plumber. 2 adolescent boys are causing havoc in the apartment. They are almost always seen together and are regarded as vandals. When they find Dahlia in the basement preparing a washing machine full of clothes, one of them makes a sexual remark to her. They leave, however, and Dahlia is alone when she starts the washing machine. It doesn't appear to be working properly, so she starts a new one. Dahlia hears strange noises, the water inside the washing machine turns a nasty brown color, and she suspects that there is a girl inside the washing machine. She pulls the lid until the machine's door opens, but when she realizes there is no one inside, she blames it on the 2 teenage boys' prank. Cece is having difficulty making friends at her new school, so she begins playing with her imaginary friend, Natasha. Dahlia tries not to be concerned, but the weight of the world on her shoulders begins to weigh on her. Cece must have seen/heard Natasha, the little girl who lives on the 10th floor with her father, according to the clerk. Dahlia notices the red Hello Kitty school bag named after Natasha after the incident in the laundromat. When Cece returns it to the clerk, he simply throws it away. Dahlia's lawyer is Jeff Plaitzer, played by Tim Roth. He appears to live alone in his car. When Dahlia calls him in a panic on a Sunday evening, he tells her that he is taking his family to the movies and that he will call her the next day. Cue him, all alone in the gritty cinema. Dahlia approaches Cece and tells her to stop teasing her invisible friend. Later, at school, Cece draws herself and her mother in front of the house. It appears that an invisible force is forcing her to paint over the drawing, causing everything to blur. Cece becomes irritated and yells at the invisible energy to stop. Cece's nervous breakdown is noticed by the teacher, Cameron Manheim. Cece is escorted to the bathroom to wash her hands. There, muddy water pours from every faucet, and Cece shuts herself away in a toilet cubicle. A young woman with dark hair in a red coat walks by, splashing on the wet floor. Cameron Manheim, the teacher, calls Dahlia, who arrives drenched from the heavy rain. Cece became dizzy and fainted in the bathroom, according to her. Dahlia is accused by Kyle of being unstable and a bad influence on Cece. Plaitzer asks Dahlia if all of those accusations are true, and Dahlia mentions her headaches. Plaitzer takes matters into his own hands because he suspects Dahlia is about to have a nervous breakdown. He calls the building's owner, Mr. Murray, John C. Riley, who is visibly upset when he sees the extent of the damage caused by the water coming from the 10th floor. Murray guarantees that a plumber will arrive the next day. The next day, the plumber claims that the pipes are not the issue because there was no leak to begin with. Dahlia decides to investigate the matter after taking her fears seriously. She ascends to the 10th floor, but no one lives there anymore. A Russian family lived on the 10th floor. They were a dysfunctional family. The mother was an alcoholic, but Natasha, Perla Harney-Hardine, their only young child, was sweet and welcoming. Natasha was left with her father after her mother checked herself into rehab. The father returned to Russia, assuming Natasha was with her mother. Because the child had been abandoned by both parents, she walked up the ladder to the large reservoir and drowned one day while on the rooftop. The clerk appears to have been aware of it, but he refused to act because, after all, it was not his job. Instead, he simply stopped taking care of the reservoir, which was why Dahlia's apartment kept flooding. Dahlia looks into the reservoir. Natasha's body is the first thing she notices. Natasha opens her eyes and attempts to take Dahlia inside, but Dahlia flees and calls the police. The police arrest Vik, but there is no way to prove that either of Natasha's parents murdered her, and Vik is probably only guilty of failing to call the cops when he realized Natasha was dead. Dahlia approaches Kyle after the ordeal appears to be over. She proposes reaching an agreement regarding Cece's custody and moving closer to Kyle. Kyle is ecstatic to hear it. Dahlia plans to leave the condo in a week, forever. Dahlia prepares a bubble bath for Cece that night. Dahlia walks out of Cece's bath and calls her mother. Dahlia is taking a bath while holding a blue doll. Dahlia is about to take Cece out of the bath when she notices her in the living room, wrapped in a robe. Dahlia begins reading a children's book to her when she realizes it is Natasha, not Cece. Dahlia must dismantle the bathroom door. Cece is being drowned by Natasha. Dahlia offers to care for Natasha indefinitely in order to save her daughter. The bathroom begins to flood. The cops have returned to the building. They believe Dahlia committed suicide. Kyle picks up Cece and drives her to his house. They become stranded while in the lift. At that moment, the ghost of Dahlia approaches Cece, combs her hair, and tells her that if she has a problem in the future, Dahlia will be waiting for her and will assist her. Meanwhile, Cece happily exits the building, and Dahlia remains to care for Natasha.